So let's talk about different types of centers that you could have. There are essentially three types. So you could have a family childcare home. So this is where a person is watching children in their home. You can have a center in a residence, which means you can watch more children in your home, but you are adhering to both the family childcare home rules and the childcare center rules. And then you can have what I call a brick and mortar, which is where you're renting a building that you're using only for your business. So we're going to break down each one. When we talk about a family childcare home, this means that a childcare arrangement located in a residence, so like at your house, where at any time more than 2 children, but less than 9, receive childcare. So you have to own the home. You can't, like rent a house to use as a family childcare home. You have to, I don't mean own the home, that's not right. You have to live in the home. So you're living in the home, even if you rent, that's fine. Even if it's an apartment, you're in the home, you live there, and you're keeping children. Now, notice that the capacity is 5. And this includes your own children. So here's how it works. If let's say you're watching 2 children every day from 9 to 5, and people are paying you to do that. They are not related to you. And so they're not like a grandkid or, niece or nephew. They're not your own kids. You're being paid to watch these 2 children. You do not have to be licensed for that. Once you have 3 children in the home, even if 1 or 2 of those children are your own, if there's 3 children together, then that is considered a family child care home. Now, obviously, if all 3 of those children are your own children, no. But if you have 3 children and a minimum of 1 of those is not yours, you're being paid to watch that child, or even if you're not being paid, it's not yours, that's considered a family child care home. And this would be on a consistent basis. So like a play date doesn't count. This needs to be consistently every week or every day or something like that. Okay, now, some ideas about this. You can have up to 5 children, right? So you can have up to 5 children in your family child care home. And these are children that are preschool aged and younger. So 5 and younger. Some of the benefits are that you're in your house. You are in your own space all the time. But also, you're in your house. People are coming to your house. Children are playing in your house. They're messing with your stuff. You're in your home all the time. You have less bills to pay. So whereas if you own a brick and mortar school, then you are paying rent and bills at a second location, but you're already going to have to pay your house payment anyways. So you have less bills to pay. You work alone, which can be good and bad. So this means that you set your own routines. You can put things where you like it. You can organize things how you want. But also, you are not going to be able to interact with other adults throughout the day. That's really hard. I did not realize how difficult that would be. And when I had my family childcare home, when parents would come home at the end of the day, man, I was dying to talk to them. I really, really, really wanted to talk to them. And they were just, ready to go home. It was the end of their work day. So you have fewer children, which is good and bad. And I apologize, by the way, if you can hear my bird. I'm a bird person, so they're always in the background chirping. But fewer children is great because you get to focus more on one child or a few kids. You get to really know the families. You get to give them a lot of individualized attention. But also, if one of them leaves, that is 1/5 of your income gone. And if 2 of those kids are your own and you're just being paid for 3 of the children and one of them leaves, that's 1/3 of your income gone. So, there's pros and cons to having fewer children. Also, it's really hard to take a break. Imagine you have the flu. So if you have the flu, then you are going to need to either tell the parents that you can't work, which most of those parents are going to anticipate that you are giving them a refund for those days because they paid for childcare. And if you can't keep their kids, they're either going to have to take off work or they're going to have to pay for somebody else to watch them. But let's say that you have a sub come to your house. Well, now while you are sick at home with the flu, half of your house is being used for childcare. There are people in your home. So, there's pros and cons to a family childcare home, and there's pros and cons to all of these, and you have to decide what works best for you. So, let's look at a center in a residence. So, this is when you are providing for more than 5 kids, and you are following rules that are, you have to follow center in a residence rules. Like brick and mortar childcare center rules. And you also have to follow family childcare home rules. So when you look at these staff ratios right here, that is for center. That's what it looks like for centers. But I actually do not think that you can go up to 15. I think you can go up to 12. I would have to look at the law for that. But anyways, the point is you can have more kids. You're in your home. So that's great. You're in your home, right? So again, you just have one set of bills to pay. So that's beneficial because you're not having to pay rent at another place. You can hire an assistant. So now you have somebody to work with. And that's great, right? Somebody to help you. But then also, what happens if you hire this person and they seem really great at first, and then you just don't get along, or you just decide that you don't want to pay somebody, or, you want somebody new? That can be a really uncomfortable conversation. All of a sudden, you're somebody's boss, but you work so closely with them one-on-one that you tend to form a real relationship with them that doesn't feel as much as a boss and an assistant. It really kind of feels like a friend. So then those hard conversations become really even more difficult and awkward. You have more kids, which is great because that's more income. But also, more kids means more responsibility, less one-on-one time with the children. It just makes everything a little bit more complicated. So when you think about a brick and mortar center, the reason I call it that is because that term, brick and mortar, it comes from the traditional way of building buildings, right? So brick, and then mortar is like the grout or the glue that holds the bricks together. So when we talk about a brick and mortar business, we're talking about a business that is not in your home and it's not online. So an online only business is e-commerce, and brick and mortar is when you have a standalone business. You're renting a space that is only for your business. You're not living there. So there's so many benefits to this, right? Like you get a space that's not your personal space. Nobody is in your home. You get a separation between home and your business. It's a little bit easier to take off days off work because you already have so many different classrooms in that building. You're already going to need to have regular subs. So it's a little bit easier. You get adult interaction, which is great. And you can have a bigger potential for higher income. You can grow your business. You can add more classrooms if the space allows, or you can change location a lot easier than, selling your house and buying a bigger house. But there are cons too. Now you're driving to work, you're paying utility and rent and all these bills at a second location. You are responsible for a staff's payroll. I want you to think about what a big weight that is. You are responsible for making sure that enough students come to your center, that you are able to pay all the utilities and the bills and pay your staff. So that means that if, let's say, you have 5 students leave that month, and so you're down that income, you still have to pay that staff. So you've got to figure out a way to make that work. And the first line is, the first thing that you do is you take less money. So you get less money that month so that your staff can still get paid. And not only is that a gracious thing to do, that's also the law. You have to pay people for what they work. And that's a big responsibility, is now people depend on you for their bills. Having more children means more responsibility. It's more liability, it's more materials that you have to buy, more people you have to plan for, just more moving pieces. So it can be a little bit more difficult, but also more rewarding to have a brick and mortar center. Now, you need to really think about this practically before you decide. Obviously, you're not making a decision today that's going to be a lifetime decision, but I really would like you to think about which one truly speaks to you. What do you think would be the better choice for you? Throughout this course, we're going to be doing different assignments, and all of those will be based on whatever kind of center you have chosen. So if you're choosing to do a family childcare home, then all of the assignments that we do going forward will be based around a family childcare home. So if you can, technically, yes, you can in the middle of the semester change what you're doing, but if you take 261 and 262 and you're basing all of your assignments on a single type of business, then at the end of 262, you essentially have a business plan and a good, strong basis for the beginning of a complete business. All right, so you're going to go now to Module 1 and you're going to complete those assignments. And you're going to tell me, you're going to answer a lot of questions, but you're also going to tell me which one you've chosen and why. I want to know why you feel like this is a good fit for you.